You got to turn on your camera and your microphone.
You're being interviewed today, love.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Now, if we can just see that beautiful smiling mug of yours, we'll be in business.
Good. I got my daughter behind there trying to set me up. She knows what I do. So, is everything good?
We don't see you yet.
Okay. Gotta get the camera in there.
There we go.
That's me. No. We don't want to see that.
So flip it around.
How do I flip?
Yeah.
This is a struggle.
This is like the
There you go.
We're in.
No, it's.
We
Okay.
can almost see you.
You're too far away, Madre.
Look at her sitting over there on the couch. That's cute.
Out here.
Yeah, zoom in. Keep zooming. There you go.
There we go.
Good.
Now we can see you. Yeah. HooDeeHooooo.
HooDeeHooooo.
Ah, I love it. Yes. So everybody, welcome to today's special edition of the Kong Family Show. We are live and recording, and we are here live with Lisa Glanzer. Did I get that right?
Glanzer.
Glanzer?
Yes. Glanzer.
She's coming to us from South Dakota.
Yes.
South Dakota. Wow, up there in the Badlands, up there where all the dinosaurs come from.
Yeah.
Love it.
Cold weather. We could definitely get rid of the cold weather and have some sun. That would be nice.
Well, we are tickled pink that you have been able to jump in here with us today, and you know, we're the Kong family here, kids, and we've got a real simple goal. We just want to change the world.
That's right.
Some people might think that's kind of a crazy goal, but we don't, because we know it's happening. We're making it happen every single day. We're changing the world. One glass of 9.5 and one lightning bolt in a box, and one awesome individual at a time. And today's awesome individual is Miss Lisa, and we're here to talk to her about a few things and see what she's got to tell us. You know, the reason we do this is because we want to share stories, and this is something that came off the top of my brain cell, because for me it wasn't the facts and figures, it wasn't the hydrogen or the electricity or anything. It was a story. It was an incredible story from a beautiful angel who changed my life forever. And so my goal with this is to share stories in the hope that somebody else's story will ignite somebody else's brain cell and in turn change somebody else's life and change the world at the same time. So Lisa, so how's things up there? Did you get all the chores done this morning and everything's you ready to sit down and yap with us a little bit?
They're never ending. The list is just so we just do what we can do, and you put on one hat, take it off, and put on another, and you just keep rolling.
Well, I sure appreciate you.
So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, definitely appreciate you coming in here and taking some of your busy time. I know you're a homeschooling mom, and that right there in itself is a full-time job. Yeah. And so we'll go ahead and get this thing on the road. But, you know, what I like to know from people right out of the chute, I'm always interested to find out, number one, how you got involved with Kangen Water, why you got involved with Kangen Water, and were you a skeptic like I was?
Yeah, I don't like to call it skepticism. I like to say realism. So a lot of people say that I'm pessimistic or skeptic, but I think it's just being a realist and wanting to, like you said, hear somebody's story and kind of have it be connected. I'm an empath, and so I like to listen to other people's stories. I can understand their passion. I can feel where they've been and kind of their pain and tribulations. So to me, just having, like you said, those strings, kind of connected tissues, if you will, like in our body, that I like to have with people. And then when you hear those stories, it just kind of hits home for you, and you want to see if it does the same for you. So I guess I could dive right into that. But first and foremost, I want to say that it is an honor and a privilege to be on this show. I thank you for reaching out and for wanting me to tell my story. It's taken me a while to want to tell my story just because it's personal, and I like to hear other people's, but when it comes to my own, then I kind of am recluse. So it's been a journey for me to even be receptive to telling people my story. And Tristan, my beautiful cousin, has opened those doors for me. So, yeah, just first and foremost, the thing that really kind of caught my eye was just how Tristan explained that it's like a family. And I didn't believe that at first. And now after 6 months of being a part of the Enagic family, it truly is. People aren't concerned with how many, units or how many numbers you're putting up, or if you're getting other people to try the water. It's more just about how you're doing. It's personal. It's a concern and a level of love that sometimes we don't even get from our own families or get from the people that are actively in our lives. So that's been extraordinary to be a part of. It's been overwhelming to see the love and support that's been outpoured to me and my family, and just the continued education. The desire for people that are on my team, to want me to keep learning and watching videos and being a part of Zoom trainings, being a part of these phone calls, and just wanting me to grow in all aspects and facets of my life. That's been amazing. I do find that it's not a multi-level marketing where a lot of people that I'm talking to think it is. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before in my life, which is probably why it's patented. But that it's more just about networking, and not networking in a way that's so business oriented, more networking, like I said, a family, and connecting each other by our stories and by our personal testimonies, and just wanting us to be a part of this continued growth that Enagic is on, this mission for true health and to change the world. Like you said, to change the world one drop at a time. That it's a group of believers with a vision that's like-minded, a vision to listen to people, to hear what their personal needs are, to try to accommodate those the best that we can, and to try to guide them into a better quality of life, and not just in health. I know we've talked a lot about this. I see this on the Facebook group. It's very vital to make sure that you tread lightly and not to make it look like it's a cure or a magic water, which I don't believe it is. I believe it's returning back to origin, like Kangen means and what it stands for. Yeah. And returning back to origin in a way that, God made our bodies remarkably. And he provided us with numerous ways to sustain our bodies. One of the things that came to mind when I first started this journey was Daniel. I've always been a health nut, kind of crunchy, if you will. I get labeled like that a lot in my life. But just, I'm a gardener. I like to grow things. I love nature. It's just my passion. So, God outlined the story in the Bible, the story of Daniel, and how he prayed to God and he said, hey, you guys eat your meat and you eat your bread, and that's okay. I'm not dissing meat and bread. I mean, I eat that occasionally too. And I think that it can be great for our bodies, especially meat, protein, but that you can find those same proteins in produce in the earth. And I think Daniel comes to mind all the time for me, because he said, okay, you eat your meat and bread, which we know bread turns to sugars in our body. And there's also sugars in fruits, but different types of sugars. And he said, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to eat vegetables and I'm going to eat fruit and I'm going to continue believing in the hope of Christ. And what did he drink? He drank water. And obviously back then in those times, the water wasn't as polluted as it is now with, agricultural waste and the dumping of industrial waste that we know a lot of companies do. And that might be something that's hidden from mainstream America, but we know it to be true. And once you're awakened to those things that are going on, everything just kind of falls into place and you see things for what they really are. And just some common sense prevails. It doesn't need to be all about this technical stuff and all about science, and science is great. But I think sometimes scientists overlook just common sense. I know Sam Tran talks about this a lot. He's a person that I seek out a lot just because he kind of teetered on the realm of science and health and tried to kind of bridge that gap. And I think that's amazing. He calls himself a reformed scientist, or what does he say? Not reformed, but scientist maybe, or something like that. He says, where I thought that was kind of funny, where he kind of came out of that a little bit and saw some more of the common things that were going on in the world today.
Right.
So, you know, that's something that I've had a difficult time bringing this forth to other people, just because that cognitive dissonance, that just genuine belief and blind trust that the government has the best interests for us is really hard to push through. But going back to Christianity here, people that are missionaries, people that are working in a church, it's hard to break through hardened hearts. And for them to see the hope that is in Christ, and that you don't need to think about tomorrow or the next day or what you think is going to really happen, but you just have this hope and this abundant faith. It's the same thing, I think, with what we're doing with the water. It's hard to break through the belief system and the indoctrination that has been put on so many people. But I'm up for the challenge, and that's kind of my mission here. That's what I want to make my mission, is to just help others see the truth. And, you know, sometimes people don't like truth because it is convicting and it brings people to a different way of thinking, and it's uncomfortable. And I like being uncomfortable. I like being the outlier and being the different one, because I think that is what he wants us to do, is not follow the herd and be the sheep, but to go the other way, in the other direction, and that there's great things for us going that way.
Yeah. That's pretty much the story of my life. I've been the black sheep of my family most all of my life. I've always been against the grain. I've always been pretty much the opposite of most people. And and I think that's been a great gift for me, but it's also, you know, caused some issues, you know, because telling the truth sometimes can get you in trouble. I get in trouble all the time for telling the truth, because sometimes people just simply hate the truth. But you know, whatever. I don't even care about those people. Those people who don't like the truth, I don't need them around me. So it's fine. It's a good way of kind of filtering people out of your life, really, getting rid of negative people. Because for me, anybody that doesn't like truth, they don't have any position. They don't have any place in my life anyway. So, but you know, so you got involved with Kong's Water. How long have you been involved?
I think 6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Not good with numbers and math, but about 6 months, I would say.
Okay. Well, that's great. I think that's kind of neat, really, to have somebody, because we have people that have been in here a little bit of time, a lot of time. You know, my partner in crime, Sean Wetzel, he's been doing it for over 10 years. And, you know, for me, I sat and ignored it for 6 months. I laughed about it. I cost myself 6 perfectly good Kong months of my life. And, but I'd like to know what in the 6 months that you've been drinking Kangen water, what does it help your machine do? You know, because I want to point this out to everybody that hasn't actually, you know, they don't understand exactly what this is all about. And we like to make it perfectly clear that this thing right here, this is the miracle. This is the most incredible machine on the planet. This thing right here, all that Kangen water is it is a gift. It is a tool that was given to us by God and Mr. Oshiro that gives this thing the main ingredient that it needs so it could do its job. And so what kind of things has your machine been able to do that has helped change your life? What has it done for your life?
It's extraordinary. I will try to say this without tears because I'm an emotional person. So I lead with emotions sometimes. But
you go ahead and cry all you like.
I down level, and I tend to suffer from verbosity, so I can go off on tangents. So I'm going to try to keep it on task, but not to go too far back. But I was in the Army. I served my country for 4 years. Had several incidents happen. We don't need to go into those, but just had developed a lot of PTSD. Was a mom right away, you know, shortly after I got out of the Army, and just being a mom for me when I had my oldest, Nevaeh, she's a teenager now, just kind of snapped me out of the way I lived before. And I just knew I wanted something more, and I wanted to be a better version of myself every day. And I think for many years, I sought out to be a better version of myself in just various and numerous ways that kind of left me still wanting and still knowing there was more. So had a lot of PTSD, and I was a single mom for many years. I worked as a preschool teacher, loved my job. Working with kids and seeing their pure innocence and joy was more therapeutic than anything to me at that time. I think they taught me more than I taught them, to be honest with you. So I did that for 10 years, loved that job. And I met my husband now there, and got married. We dated for about a year, and we were engaged for a year. So I knew that it was right, and waited a while for him to meet the kids. And their father was living far away, and they didn't really see him very often. He since has passed, and he's in heaven. So that was not too long ago, about a year ago. So dealing with a lot of emotional stress, a lot of changes over the years for my older kids. And any of you that are parents understand that your emotions do not even hold a candle compared to your children's emotions. When they go through things, it hurts you more than yours ever will. Way more. So I had 2 kids right off the bat when my husband and I got married. And so they're really close in age, they're about 18 months apart, my younger 2, Kalia and Paisley. And my husband decided to join the Army when I was 8 months pregnant with our 4th child, with Paisley. I was not very happy at first about that, but I knew that he had wanted to do that as a child, didn't get the opportunity to do so, a lot of reasons. And so I wanted to support him. At first I was a little disgruntled, and I begged him to stay. We did some pros and cons lists, and he went anyway. So I chose to support him, because at that point you can either choose to be angry and harbor angry, which manifests into pain in your body and oxidative stress and free radicals, or you could just choose to support him and go through that situation and know this is just a season and there's going to be different seasons. And I chose the latter. And it was hard. It was really hard to be alone with 4 kids, one being a newborn. And Tristan will laugh at this, but I have the one older than my newborn. She's tumultuous, and she was a toddler at the time. So that was a lot of work, a lot of frustration, a lot of lack of sleep. Lack of sleep being the biggest one there. Sleep deprivation can do a number on your body. I was sleeping maybe 2-3 hours a night, trying to run the older kids to their events and things at school. My older kids are biracial, and they had a lot of negatory reactions at school. Being up here, I want to call it innocent naivety maybe, so I don't label people. I don't want to do that. But they dealt with a lot of pain. So we had a lot of decisions to make, and it was just really overwhelming for me to handle all that on my own. And I suffered a lot of mental issues. My clarity wasn't very clear, obviously the sleep deprivation, and having the kid back to back. I had some postpartum depression. I didn't want to really admit that, but I knew I did. And I sought counseling, to which case all they offered me was drugs, benzos, SSRIs. I am not a person that likes to take pharmaceuticals, even before doing the Kangen. So I declined. I did a lot of self-medicating, which I'm not very proud of. But again, I would rather have that than have the drug pharmaceuticals and the side effects that can present themselves, especially because I was alone with my children. I didn't want to become more depressed. I know a lot of those commercials, I'm going to kind of chuckle here because I don't know how people don't see this, but again, cognitive dissonance. At the end, they rattle off all these side effects that are actually the same as what you were dealing with before. So I hear those things. I'm very intuitive. I pick out those things. And I didn't want to go down that road. So there was a lot of struggles there, a lot of depression, a lot of testing of my faith during that time. And the biggest issue was that because I held my daughter like this all the time, those baby wearing things were very frustrating to me and to her. And I was just so busy running around, just never really did that. So I would hold her with my left hand, a very right hand dominant, and I would be cooking and I would be doing other things and signing reports. And I got a pinched nerve. I sustained a pinched nerve up here. I had a bulging disc in my L5 and L6 vertebrae. It was a lot of pain. I didn't really have the time or the financial stability or the energy to even go to receive treatment. I was supposed to go every 2 weeks. I had a functional health provider and a chiropractor for a while, for years. I don't see allopathic health. My children do not either. And that's been since my son had an injury sustained when he was using Vaxation. That's a whole other story. So we've since not done any of that since he was about 4, and he is 12 now. So I'd already sought that kind of healthcare, holistic healthcare. So I went into him, and he was able to show me that I had the L5, L6. I did get an MRI done, and was able to see that. And we had a treatment plan. He had supplements he gave me. It was so much more than just the pinched nerve and the bulging disc. It was a lot of mental issues. I had estrogen dominance. I had cortisol dominance. You know, we have pain and you have stress in your life. You secrete cortisol. You cannot control your penile and pituitary gland and your hormones as much as you think you can. You cannot. So I was dealing with a lot of issues. And my cognitive decline was something that was hard for me to deal with, just because I've always prided on myself on being intellectual and, you know, wanting to continue learning and growing in my mind. And that was hard for me. There was ringing in my ears a lot. Sometimes it hurt to think. I would sit in the kitchen and it would just feel like my head was buzzing or beeping. It was horrible. And I would sit and cry on the floor and rock, and my older kids, they didn't know what to do for me. I was having marital issues. I don't need to go down that road. I want to be very careful with what I say there, because it's on social media, but a lot of just not having his emotional support, some poor choices being made on his end. And so there was a lack of connection between us two. So I was alone basically with the 4 kids. Now, I don't ask for help very well. I do have my mom who lives close by, but she babysits my sister's kids quite often. And so she wasn't around very much. And, you know, and I lean on the Lord, and I don't consider that being alone. A lot of people in my family, a lot of my friends will say, you know, we never ask for help, never ask for help. And, you know, in those kind of situations, I guess I don't agree with that, because I feel like God puts us in situations for a reason, to teach us hard lessons, to bring us to a better way, to make connections with people that otherwise maybe if you had help, you wouldn't notice. And so I just always think it's a season. This is what God has me in. And while it's really tough and it's really painful, both emotionally and physically, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I might not see it right now because I'm in the valley, but you can't mountain high. You can't always be on the mountaintops. And I appreciate the valleys just as much as I appreciate the mountaintops, because I know there's a lesson there. And so I just continued to keep my faith. And I saw Tristan, my cousin, on Facebook one day, and she was posting about the water. And I want to know, you know, I'm a person that seeks out to know, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? My dad always says that when I was young, I was the why kid. Well, why? Well, why? And then as soon as he would answer all my whys, I would say, well, how? He's a psychologist, so he understands a lot and was able to kind of that with me. But I called her. I called Tristan up and I said, hey, can you tell me what this water is? And she's like, absolutely, I can. She told me story and how it helped her. And she said, hey, look, I'm flying out to Minnesota, where she grew up. And she said, drive down there with the kids. And my husband was working nights. Then he was back. He's been back about 2.5 years. He got back when my youngest was 10 months. So there was a long time there where I was alone. And so we had some issues we were working out, and he was working in very odd shifts. So he still wasn't really home a lot anyway, working overnights a lot, working late at night. And very thankful that he was working on a good job and was able to allow me to be a mom and be home and homeschool. And at that point, we had already pulled the kids out of school, and that looked really scary, because as you know, that's a big thing in America right now. And, you know, they don't like homeschoolers. And I was concerned I would be in trouble for truancy or something of the such. And we ended up finding a really good community for them to attend, and we love it now. So anyway, back to the phone call. So I went up to Minnesota and I got some water from her, and she showed me the device. She had brought it on the airline, because obviously it's TSA approved. So she did that. And I like to see it. Now, if I would have gotten water from somebody like a water share, like I've been doing with people, that would have been enough for me. Because I would have thought, well, what'd you put in the water? Where'd it come from? I'm that way, you know, not pessimistic, you know, I don't think not skeptic. I just think just a realist. Like, that happens. People do that. And so you have questions. And so I wanted to see it in action. And she showed it to me, and I asked her a plethora of questions. I'm sure she will tell you it was a tad bit annoying and redundant, but I did. And I asked her a lot of questions, and she was willing to answer them. She did a demonstration for me. One of the things that really hit home was that she had my daughter, my 5-year-old now, Clea, put her hands in the water, and she tested one of them, and it showed chlorine levels with chlorine test drops. And then the other one, she had Clea put her hands in it, and when she took them out and she tested the water, you know, it didn't turn yellow. And I was like, why didn't it turn yellow? And I didn't even get it, which is funny, because my teenager was like, Mom, because the chlorine absorbed into her skin. And it's just very scientific. was like, whoa, I was mind blown. I was mind blown because Kalia, much like I do and my husband does, we have what's called MTHFR, which is methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase. In your body, what that does is it's able to methylate heavy metals and toxins and pull them out of your body. But if you have a mutation or an offset, you're not able to do that. So when you come in contact with metals and heavy toxins, which are everywhere, are so prevalent in foods, in the air and environment, in the water, in tap water, in a lot of things, in vaccinations, you cannot methylate those, and either they affect your organs or they cross the blood-brain barrier. And I think that's where a lot of my mental issues came from before, because I'm not able to methylate those. And I have fillings in my teeth that are made from mercury, and I think it affects just because it's close proximity to my brain, and that's why I have cognition issues. But I didn't want that to be a part of Kalia, and so when I saw that, I knew she had a problem already getting rid of those, and I thought right away, I can't have her drink this water anymore. She's not going to be able to process that chlorine and all the other 300 plus contaminants that are in the water. So I was very interested. And she sent me home with some jugs, and we pretty much drank all of them on the way home from Mankato to Sioux Falls in the 4-hour that was. And here I thought, there's no way we could drink all this water. We're going to have it for a few days. Well, no, because when you drink this water, it instantly absorbs into your cells. It's cellular hydration. So you can drink a large amount of water where otherwise you would not be able to. I mean, before I had drank this water, you drink tap water, or you drink any bottled water, you can't drink that much, or it sloshes around in your stomach, and you could actually get waterlogged. When I was in the Army, I had to monitor the amount of water you drink, because if you drank too much, you could get sick. If you drank too little, you could get dehydrated. So it's a very fine line there. And I think that's one of the biggest things that hit home to me is like, wow, I could absorb all that water and not even feel like any of it was in my stomach or in my digestive system. That was extraordinary to me, something I never even had witnessed before. So I wanted to get that, and I didn't have any left. And I felt great. I felt a large amount of energy that I was having trouble feeling just because of the aforementioned issues I talked about with mental issues and with the, my vertebrae and the pinched nerve and those kind of things. I lacked a lot of energy to do what Lisa usually does, the gardening and running around and just multiple tasks. And I wasn't able to do that. So I wanted it. I wanted it a lot. And I waited about 3 to 4 months. I knew I needed it. I knew I wanted it right away. We just couldn't financially, accommodate what I wanted, is what I thought. And a lot of people will say that, oh, it's too expensive. It's $3,900, $4,000, or the other one's over $4,000. I don't think we can do that. Well, there's lots of things there. There's other models that are, 2,000 range, which is a starter model or a junior model. But not only that, but there's payment plans. And not only does Enagic do payment plans, but there's also third-party lenders that will give you the ability to get the water device and pay it off entirely to Enagic, and then you make payments throughout to them. And Tristan told me about what she did and said, I understand you can't pay it right out, flat out. And so knowing that there was other options kind of was inquisitive to me, like, wow, why would a company want to do that? Where do you hear that? A company allowing you to make payment plans and just getting it right away. I mean, there's companies where you can make payments and then you don't get it for, until you pay it off. I mean, I think I was paying on a furniture set for 2+ years before I even got it. What company gives it to you and lets you reap these benefits and have this device, especially medical devices, because medical devices are so expensive, without paying in full in its entirety? And so I started really looking into some of the links she was sending me and some of the paperwork she was sending me, because I wanted to understand what their vision was. Why did somebody want to do this? And then when I read about Mr. Asherio and his story and just how just heartfelt he is and the village he came from and what his vision was for true health and financially and mentally and wellness, it just wowed me. I wanted to be a part of something like that. And so we went ahead and we got the device. And when I first got the device and was drinking the water exclusively, and that's something very important to note on the show, because some people will get it and will still continue their old habits. Now, I didn't have those habits. I did not drink soda before that. I just was very healthy. So I didn't have a lot of those poor wellness habits, I guess I should say. But some people will get that and still want to eat their candy bars or still want to, drink their sodas or their monster drinks, and you just can't do that. When you get it, you need to exclusively drink the water, because we are 75% water. So I look at it like a pie, right? If it's 75% of the problem, you can take care of that. Well, there's going to be 25% left over. Now, what you do with that 25% is also going to matter, because if you don't do good things with that, it's going to start dwindling that other 75% down, and that's going to have negatory effects. So I knew that, and it made sense to me. It was just very obvious, very intuitive. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to drink this exclusively. And I was drinking my body weight in ounces, or at least half. And the first day I was okay. I had a lot of energy. And then the second and third day hit, and kind of into the fourth day, and I almost quit doing it. It was an extraordinary amount of pain. But remember, like I said, I had fibromyalgia type symptoms. Again, I did not see allopathic health, so it wasn't a label that was put on me, you have fibromyalgia. But my chiropractor knew that's what it was. But he just doesn't like to call it that, because then that would be their medical terminologies instead of what he likes to do. He likes to find the source of the issue. So he was looking into my estrogen levels and cortisol levels and trying to kind of accommodate those issues to see if we could, if we could rectify the situation. And so I just kept drinking it. I even told her one day, I called her and I said, Tristan, I'm laying on the couch. I can't do anything. I felt like pain. My fingers would tingle. I felt like the pain leaving my body, through my arms, through my legs. It was like it was in every vein and artery in me. It was just pain all throughout my body. Like I could feel my blood flow, and it was painful. It was, I don't like pain scales, but on a scale of 1 to 10, probably like a 12. It was insane. I've had 4 children, and I had all of them without pain medications. I had them all naturally. Wow, no, this pain did not even come close to the pain, the pain this was way worse than the pain of childbirth. I mean, way worse. It was pretty bad. And that's a detox. And I wanted to tell people that are watching, or who do watch this, that if this is something that you go on this journey with Kangen Water, and you would like to take this Kangen Wave ride, you're going to have a detox. Because think about how long it took your body to become that acidic, or to have that illness or that disease or that ailment. It took a while. It's not something that just happens like that. And I know people look for a quick fix, and that's what pharmaceuticals are. That's what allopathic health is. It's a quick fix. It's a masking, although you're going to probably have more side effects, and that issue is still going to be there. That's why you need to go to the source. But it's not going to happen overnight, just like your problem did not happen overnight. A lot of people I hear say, well, if this was so bad for you, then why wouldn't I be dying? Well, it's not like, bam, you eat some horrible junk and the next day you die. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to be judgy, but this is a ridiculous way of thinking. It takes time.
Yes.
So that takes time.
Hey, Lisa, 1 second. Let me interrupt you just for a second. Tristan, would you like to, because Tristan's got to get going. She's got an appointment she's got to go to. Was there something you wanted to add, Tristan, before you take off? Would you like to say anything?
Everything Lisa has said so far is true.
Yes. Yeah, bless her heart.
Yeah. No, I just have a quick chiropractic appointment, but I'm going to jump back on as soon as I'm done.
Awesome.
Sounds great.
I'll be back soon.
All right.
Great. Tell your chiropractor we said, HooDeeHooooo. Okay, sorry to do that to you. But so you were suffering from basically a fibromyalgia kind of thing, and then plus you had some sort of problems with your neck and with your spine from doing what you mothers do, which is crazy to me. I see ladies hauling their little kids around and stuff, and it's always so amazing to me, the things you moms do. I've often said to the ladies, I said, how can you try to make yourself even or equal to men when you're so far superior? You're so far superior to us that it's crazy for you to be trying to be equal. We're a bunch of heathens. You are freaking angels, and you guys are what make the world go round, and you're so far superior to us that, I just love ladies, and they're so incredible. And so that kind of stuff is really amazing to me. And so to hear that from you, that, that's where a lot of your problems started to come from, because you're just doing what moms do. You know, you're worried more about your children than you are about yourself. And I think personally, from what I've learned since I've been part of the Kong family, is that's one of the things we need to really work on, is trying to take more care of ourselves. Because really, I tell people every single day, you are number one. And you may think that your children are number one, or your husband is number one, or somebody else in your life is number one. But when it really comes right down to it, you are number one. And if you don't take care of you, then you can't do anything for anybody else. And so, yeah, it's really neat to hear this stuff from you. And I sure appreciate you opening up and giving us this information, because this is powerful stuff and it's going to change people's lives. But so you started drinking the water. You ended up using Enagic's financing, correct?
We did. Yep.
So you put down some money, and and yes, it is amazing what Enagic does. They don't even ask for any employment records. They don't care whether you have a job or not. They don't care about any of that. If you can put down your money on the machine, it's yours. And they won't send Bubba to come and break your legs and come and take your machine. They won't tell the credit bureau if you can't make your payments. I always tell my friends, if you get this and you can't afford 1 month to pay the payment, you just call them up and say, hey, I can't afford to send the whole 150 or whatever. I'm sending you 50, but I'm sharing the water. I'm drinking the water. I'm working on it. And they say, fine, here you go. Great. Awesome.
So kindly too. They're not shocked or disgruntled or upset or, okay. They're just so kind about it. Yeah, because that kind of happened to us too during a period of time between my husband and I, and that happened. And it was like the easiest call I ever made. They were so willing to work with you. And again, $150 a month. What do people spend that on? I mean, people who drink, Starbucks every day. Sorry, yeah, Starbucks. It's just a branding. I mean, you're buying the brand. That's all it is. People really can't think that it tastes that great. But you pay that much a month. If you add up the prices of a $5 and 30-some cents beverage, and you do that multiple times a month, you're going to pay that. I mean, you're buying bottled water and you think you're buying a good kind and it's $3-4 a bottle. Add that up. I mean, in the course of 15 years, it's like 45 grand or more. And you pay one time for this device, and it's going to last you your lifetime. And so especially if you take care of it the right way. So I don't know, I tell people all the time, I'd pay $150 for the rest of my life for this. Seriously, I would. I really would. And I don't have to. That's the great part. I'm going to be done with it, and then it's going to be mine outright. So I would. It would, because of the family and the savings. I mean, we don't buy hardly any consumable products anymore. And I've already wanted to get rid of them before we did this Enagic plunge. I wanted to get rid of more and more products, and I was making things homemade. I do oils as well. And so I had already gotten rid of a lot, but just finding out more and more and more what you can get rid of. Like just 2 days ago, I found out that I can use 11.5 that comes out when you're making the 2.5. And I can use that as contact solution. Wow, contact solution is like $8 to $15 a bottle.
What kind of solution was that you're talking about?
Contact solution.
Oh, no doubt. Really? Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. I know that my wife and we haven't bought laundry detergent in 2 years.
Yep, you use 11.5 for laundry detergent. And the savings, and then not to mention the bottles that you'd have to be responsible with. I hated that. It's like, now what am I going to do with this bottle? I'm looking at it as recyclable. What am I going to do with this, laundry soap bottle? I don't like that. I like to not have plastic in my house. I mean, go glass all the time. And even like plastic wrap, I've been using, like wax wraps and stuff. I just, crunchy. That's okay. I'll take that label. I like, outlier, save the everybody says, one bottle, what can that do? Well, it says 7 billion people. Now it's a problem, So,
right.
You just got to look at things outside the box, and not what they kind of feed you, So yeah, back to the chiropractor, since Tristan's going to the chiropractic clinic. I also was doing a lot of like really expensive treatments, and you can pay copays, but your insurance sometimes doesn't cover those things. And I would go in for compression, where they would have to like raise my neck up, and I would have to sit on this machine and sit really still while they raised my neck up and then slowly lowered it down to kind of like take out the pressure from those discs kind of rubbing together. And that was painful. When they put different amount of poundage on there each time I went in. Craziest thing, was I'd have my little babies sitting there in the infant car seat and the tumultuous toddler running around the room, trying to sit there real still saying, don't move, please read a book, sit there, you know, crazy. And the amount of bills and supplements, I think I was up to paying like $300-400 in just supplements every month, just to take care of the many problems that were really all intermeshed and we're really all connected. You know, the stress, oxidative stress, and then that manifests into certain areas in your brain. You have cells that are dying or that are just destroyed, and it just leads to a host of other problems, and it creates acidic waste in your body. And so I've learned so much with this water. I mean, people always say, oh, how can water do that much? It's really not the water, like you said, it's our bodies, but it restores it. It restores and hydrates your cells. It takes the toxins out of the cell when it contracts, and then when it expands, it sucks in that hydration because it's restructured and it's a smaller amount of molecules. And because of that charge that the water has and the hydroxyls, they're bouncing off each other, those molecules. And so they're able to be absorbed into your cell instead of being so clustered together in a large amount of molecules and not able to really penetrate those cells. And learning all this, no, I'm not a scientist, and no, I don't want to argue with people who are, because they're probably going to debunk you some way or shape or form. And I'm not even interested in that. It's what it does, and you feel it. And that's really what you need to tell people is just try it. Just try it for a week. I'll bring you a bunch of gallons and just feel the difference, because then you cannot deny it once you feel it. I couldn't. You can't be a skeptic anymore. And then, you know, if they're really interested in it, then they'll research. They'll Google EW or ERW and electrolytes reduced water, and they'll find just a plethora of peer-reviewed studies and information on so many different ailments and what it can do. And they're studies. I mean, they're scientific studies that are performed and hypotheses that are made, and then there's postulation at the end of it. And look it up. I tell people all the time, don't use Google, and think about it. Think about it. What do conglomerates do? What do these large companies do? Well, they're going to use the Kangen name, right? They're going to stick Kangen into their, you know, their ionizers, you know, whether it's Tyrant, whether it's Life ionizers, whatever. They're going to use the Kangen name trying to debunk them, because then when people search for Kangen, it's not going to pull up Enagic, it's going to pull up them. And they're going to read that, and then all of a sudden they're going to be a skeptic, and they're going to say, well, this is cheaper, I'm going to go with this. Well, that's why I don't even say Kangen anymore. I just say ERW, or I say Enagic. Just go right to the Enagic site, and you can find all the information you need. You can see the certifications. You can see that they are the only company that has those certifications, that's medically approved, that's used within hospitals in Asia, you know, to sterilize surgical equipment with the 2.5, and to drink instead of using saline bags that are we know, terrible for your body. So just look up the information, and if they don't, move on. You know, it's the 5 S's. Is that what it is? 5 SWs? Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Maybe it's 4. But whatever it is, it's so true. I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You know, so try to reach out, try to listen to them, and your clients and your prospects. What are they going through in their family? Give them time. You know, if it takes a year and they come back to you, so what? That's okay.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's about making connections and making rapport and forging bonds. You know, I have a prospect who actually purchased a machine. She purchased the SD501 Platinum, and she lives out in Virginia. And she had a lot of issues in her family. I know her son. I actually watched him a couple times when I lived out in Virginia, so I have a very, you know, friendship connection there, really heartfelt connection. Her son was born with a cleft palate, had a hole in the top of his mouth. It was sad. It was sad to watch her as a mother just want to fix him, and knowing that you can't. And he went through a lot of surgeries, multiple surgeries that I don't think she wanted him to go through. A lot of drugs pumped into his body. She's holistic too, and she didn't like it. And watching her deal with that, and him not eating certain things, and it would come, you know, food would come out his nose and his mouth. And today she has this device, and it has done wonders for him. It has done wonders for her. She's an athlete. She runs, and she doesn't have that lactic acid buildup in her muscles anymore. She wakes up refreshed and ready to go. Her husband was a huge skeptic. He's an electrician, and he didn't want to believe it. And he had, I think, a lot of heart problems. That makes sense, doesn't it? Because we're made of electricity, right? Electrodes, and that they're firing in our chambers of our heart. And so he was having a lot of problems, and he didn't want to drink the water at first. He was trying to give her bottles of smart water and just trying to help her out, you know, and trying to do the same thing. He was researching Google and trying to find something similar. And she already believed. I had talked to her for a course of several months, and she believed, and she wanted him to believe. And she was really upset that he wasn't buying into it, and trying to give her knockoffs and things. And she's like, no, it's the plastic bottles. They leach particles. And he was trying to tell him all these things. And so eventually they did get it, and he's doing better now. And it's just these stories. She texted me the other day, and she said, hey, Lisa, I know you and your family are going through a lot. And I just want you to know that I think you're a wonderful mom for homeschooling your kids and taking them away from what they were in and the situation and taking that load on. And I just want you to know that you changed my family's life. And
That's pretty powerful, isn't it?
yeah, those texts are everything.
When you get somebody that calls you up telling you thank you for changing their life, it hits you pretty hard, and it does exactly what's happening to you right now, honey. I've been there. And yeah, I love it. You go ahead and you cry. That's all right. And the thing is I want to interject back to you real quick, because a few minutes ago you were talking about how the pain, you know, the first day, the second day it was okay, and then like the third day, I think you said that all of a sudden it was like, oh my Lord, the pain was just ridiculous.
Oh.
And then where did it go from there? What, you kept drinking the water, you kept battling. Because that's what we tell everybody all the time, is that if you have stomach aches, diarrhea, headaches, pain, whatever, you need it more than anything, and you need to keep battling through it.
Right.
So you did. You kept battling through it. And what happened?
Those symptoms that people are having, that are experiencing when they drink the water, they might think like, oh, well, you know what, it's not doing good things. Like, look what's happening to me. Well, you know, like I said before, it took that long for your body to feel that way. It's got a detox now, and you're going to feel it coming out just like you felt it coming in. You know, you always ask some tough questions or rhetorical questions, like they ask you, well, why is it doing this to me? Well, why did you have these problems before? Well, then they're like, well, I guess I don't know. Right. Maybe something you did, maybe something you were drinking. I mean, there's so many things that it could be, right? So I knew that, and I had that in my mind, and I kept that in my frontal cortex. I was like, okay, it took this long for this injury to develop. It's going to take that long for it to come out. And I was actually prepared for it taking as long as it took for me to develop that. I was like, okay, maybe it's 9 months. I mean, they tell women all the time, it took you 9 months to gain this weight. It's going to take you 9 months to lose it. And I'm okay with that. So I was okay with it taking forever. And it actually was only about 4 days. And I started feeling better. And my pain went from like a 12 to a 4. And Tristan was just like 4. I mean, I called her, did the same thing Janelle did to me. I cried. I said, you saved my life. And I mean, I just love her in and you know, spilling all over the floor like a mop bucket. And she's, you know, just smiling and, oh, thank you. And feeling humble like I did. And then after that, she asked me, well, would you like to take the UCA? And again, I was like, well, you know, I really don't think I could buy all that right now. You know, you got to buy it in bulk. She said, no, don't worry about it. I'll send you a box. She even gave me some for free. And then after that, even gave it to me discounted, you know, $6. You know, send me $60 Apple Pay, I'll send you a box. And I take that now. And at first I took 2 every few hours. So I took about 6 a day. I take 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 2 in the evening. Did that for about a week or 2 and noticed just a dramatic change in pain. I think you just don't even realize it goes away too. All of a sudden you just think to yourself, I'm not in pain. Wait, like I could live this way? You don't even think you can at that point. You're just so used to the pain. It just becomes a part of you. It just becomes mundane. Just like people, you know, going to a 9-to-5 every day and doing the same thing. It's just a hamster on a wheel. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh, I was like moving my left arm around in the kitchen. I remember I was like spinning it around, and my daughter walks in, my teenager, and she's like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, you're trying to, like, you weirdo. Do you see how I can move my arm? I just kept doing it. And she's like, that's great. Love that for you. Just kind of very teenage-ish, you know. And I said, I don't think you understand me. I couldn't move my arm like this before. There was a point where I couldn't lift it past my shoulder. Like, it just wouldn't go. It was like stuck. And the chiropractor had me doing all these stretches to make it go further, and it hurt. Tears would stream down my face every day when I would do these yogic stretches and poses. And I would do them I would do them. I would tell myself in my head, I'm a soldier. I got this. I went through more. I was at war. You know, I can do this. I had my kids natural. I got this. You know, I'd keep pumping myself up. And that's the thing I did with the Enagic, you know, with the water. I would say, no, I got this. I got this. I pump myself up. You can do this, Lisa. Just keep drinking. Drink more. When it hurts, drink another glass. Drink another glass. And again, back to what I aforementioned, I was just in awe of how much I could drink and wouldn't become waterlogged, you know, and wouldn't feel it slosh around in my stomach. It was just hydrogen. My body would take what it needed, and then the rest would just dissipate because why? It turns into gas, you know. So, yeah, it was extraordinary. And today, I can very confidently tell you, I have zero pain. Zero pain. And again, it almost made me to tears because I didn't think I could live like this ever again. My mental clarity, and I'm not blubbering all over. And before I would, because my emotions would get the best of me. And the clarity I have in my mind and my cognition, how I'm able to stay on the task and not go off all the time. I used to like go off and then I would forget where I was, or I'd walk in a room, what was I doing? It just was just so many neurological pathways that were like misfiring or that wouldn't stay connected. So it's more than just the healing of my body and the pain I had physically, it's the healing of my mind. I think my mind, I honestly think my brain was dehydrated.
It
for
was.
deprivation. It was. And 86% your brain is water. And I knew that. I studied psychology in college. You know, I knew that. Your body's 75%. I mean, it's extraordinary. When you're hydrated fully and at a cellular level, it's amazing what your body can do. It really is. And what it can overcome. So today, yeah, I'm pain-free. I take 2 a day of the Ukon. My chiropractor even did muscle testing on me and was totally receptive to the fact that I wasn't taking in the turmeric that he was giving me before. The supplement that was with black pepper, it was in a pill form. He asked me about the bioavailability, and I said that it was grown in Kangen, and it's wrapped in Kangen, and it's in the oil form. And he was like, okay. And he did the Reiki and the muscle testing and told me how many I should be taking and was completely open to it. I have given him samples of the water. I joke with him, and I tell him, when are you going to get your device? You know, and I'll bring you water for as long as you want me to, but when are you going to get your own? You know, do you debunk the science? Do you not believe in it? Because he's a genius. And he just got laughs. He's like, no, I just haven't pulled the plug. You know, I haven't made the decision. Haven't really looked into as much as I probably need to. And he's like, but I'm not going to turn down your water. I was like, okay. And then I kind of joke with him and I say, it's the male ego. You're wondering why I heard about it before you. I get it. And he kind of, so we can kind of go back and forth with one another. And the interesting thing is my daughter. She's 14-year-old. She's a prodigy. I'm telling you, this girl is a genius. She has told me many times that she is going to work with the Magic and she's going to be the team of engineers and she's going to walk in there and figure out how to make a whole house system and all these things she thinks she's going to do. And I believe her. I full on believe her because she's got that drive and that motivation. And she goes in with my chiropractor and we'll sit there and argue with him about things. And it's hilarious to watch them banter. I wish I could see it. So, you know, we banter back and forth, but I think he agrees and he understands the importance of hydrogen. I mean, it's the lightest element. It's the first on the periodic chart. It's obviously worldwide used in health and rehabilitation. I mean, hyperbaric chambers, things like that. Athletes all over the world have used hydrogen in many different ways. So it's just a matter of time before everybody finds out about it. And I'm telling you, I'm just so glad I'm on the journey because 20 years from now, when everybody knows, I'll already be 20 years in. And I think I'm just blessed. I thank the Lord. I thank my willingness to listen to my cousin and to trust her. And I thank her for the work that she did and finding out about it in the industry she was in, for Dan showing her and, you know, bringing her to it, because I know she was a real skeptic, a little bit more than me. And she would call herself a skeptic before. I would just say realist. But I was doing a lot of natural things that she wasn't even doing at that point. So, you know, I'm just so thankful. I'm so grateful to be a part of the Magic family and to make the bonds I've made, because right now in my life, we got some other things going on maritally, and just to have that support from my Magic family has kept me going. It's everything to me. It's a lifeline when I need it. They're there whenever I need them. Dan's called me up before for no reason with the Magic, no secondary agenda for him. Just simply, hey, how you doing? Have anything you want to talk about? You want to vent? Michael Coble, he's extraordinary. I know he does hemp works too, and I also do take the CBD because I told you before I self-medicated. I found out that I didn't need the THC. I just needed the CBD. That's been extraordinary for my PTSD. That's another thing I would tell you. I have never had a PTSD incident and a panic attack and an episode since starting the water. And there's no amount of words that can tell you how grateful I am for that, because my children had to watch me go through those episodes, and I don't want to rehash what they really look like, but just to tell you, there's times where I would roll around on the floor and I would scream why at the Lord. I would pull my hair, and my brain would just feel like it was screaming inside, and I wasn't there. I wasn't with my kids. I was back into those incidences. PTSD is, I know people out there that have went through it, they'll understand. It's a beast.
Yeah.
It's a beast. And to have your kids watch you go through that, and then coming out of it and kind of snapping back to reality, and you look out at their faces and they're just like, they're shocked. Their tears are streaming down their face, and they're like, they feel bad. They feel helpless. Like, what can we do? I know Nevaeh would say to me, I don't know what to do for you, Mom. I know you're not there. And then you feel guilt. You feel just overabundance of guilt. You feel like you're not worthy of being their mom, and you doubt yourself and your faith. And I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. I know that I'm absolutely, unequivocally the one who is chosen to be their mom. And I wake up every day, and that's the first thing I say, thank you, Lord, for letting me be their mom, because it is the greatest gift of all. It is the best thing I've ever done. It's how I measure success. People measure success with money and cars and stuff, and you can't take any of that to heaven. But my success is measured in being a mom and how I parent. And so I look at this as bettering myself. I chose to find a way to better myself, to heal myself, to grow and be a better version of myself every day I wake up. And this has allowed me and given me the tools and unlocked my natural ability, my brain's ability, my God-given talents and strengths, and my body that God made so wonderfully, its ability to do these things on its own. It's given me that. It's given me back my life.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so interesting, hon, because the thing that people don't understand is that when you know, I tell people this all the time, you cannot drink enough H2O to hydrate your body. You can't do it. You drown yourself first, because you need to literally drink like 6 to 8 gallons a day, and you can't drink that much. You would literally drown yourself trying to drink 8 gallons of water a day. But drinking 1 gallon of Kangen water is like drinking 6 to 8 gallons of regular water. And the thing that's the other crazy conundrum about it is that when you drink regular H2O, the last part of your body that gets that hydrogen or that gets that water is your brain. And it's the part that needs it the most. It's the part that needs it the most. No wonder we have all these mental issues running rampant in our society. It's because people are running around out there with dehydrated brains. And if you're not, this is the simple fact of the matter. If you're not drinking Kangen water, you are dehydrated, period. How your body is solving that, how it's dealing with that, who knows? Because it might be PTSD, it might be fibromyalgia, it might be something, whatever, you know, whatever it is, it's dehydration. And that's the thing that I've come to understand in the last 2 years that I've been involved with Kangen water, is that, you know, there's this great crazy conundrum of life. I call it the great conundrum of life, H2O. On one hand, you have to have it. You can go like 2-3 days without it, and if you're not dead, you're wishing you were dead, right? And on the other hand, it's killing you. It is a very slow acidic poison that is literally killing you. And so that's the great conundrum of life, where Kangen water is not actually H2O. It is H2 negative OH for about 48 hours after it comes out of that lightning bolt in the box. And so that's why it does such amazing things for people. So it's helped you with your mind processing, and you're no longer having these, because you know what you just described to me, honey, it reminds me of when I watched my wife go through a alcohol induced seizure.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I saw her do it one time, and it was both. She's had two of them, and we went in and had her checked out, and she was fine and everything. But what it turns out, it was just a couple of weekends that just too much partying, too much playing, too much alcohol. And then all of a sudden on like the third day, she just went down and I watched her have a seizure, and it freaked me out. And so I can imagine that that's pretty much what your children were looking at when you were doing that. And they were freaking out watching that happen. So I can imagine how hard that was on them and on you. But it's so awesome because these are the kind of things that I get to see. I'm so blessed that so many people come in here on a daily basis and they're willing to share these incredible stories with me. And heck, last Friday with Ian Rupp, I was crying in here. I was crying and I had to wipe my eyes. I was, because I even cried at the end of Rocky V. Real quickly, I wanted to acknowledge all the people that are here watching on the Kong family page. We've got Ivan and Jeremy and Tammy and Ryan and Yvette and Brandon and Ricky and all you guys. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to acknowledge you, but we've been having a great conversation here with Lisa. But I want to thank you guys all for being here. And, nobody's really got any questions, but so I want to get back to you. What about your kids? What kind of, has there been any kind of things that they have had that it's helped them with that you've noticed?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
You want to elaborate a little bit on some of that? Hi, sweetie.
My Paisley Joy. She's so full of joy. She's my last one.
Hi, Joy. I'm Uncle Jay.
So she actually, at the time, had a problem going to the bathroom, number 2. And I know why now, and my chiropractor helped me figure that out. Obviously because I was so stressed and I was nursing her, a lot of that oxidative stress, a lot of those free radicals were probably coming out through my milk. Milk stress can come out through your milk, hormones, So I think that was probably stopping her up. So she was going to the bathroom maybe every 3 or 4 days, which is not good, right? And once she started drinking the Kong, it only took like a week too. She started drinking it. She was going every day. And she had never went every day, ever since she was born. And so now she goes even sometimes more than once a day and loves it. What kind of water do you drink? Yeah, Kong what? She says it without the device. She loves it. She's a little shy.
Are you being shy, little Joy? Huh? Don't be shy.
So it helped her a lot. Now my eldest, she is like a superstar gymnast. She competes and she has 4-hour practices twice a week. So she would be really tired after her 4-hour practices, to the point where she wouldn't get up the next morning until 11 o'clock. And so I've noticed in her just an increase in energy, and she's like never sore. Like she can go and do all these like moves and flip around and all this conditioning. And I mean, they do massive amounts of conditioning. She has abs of steel. And she just doesn't have any lactic acid buildup anymore. She just has energy. She didn't go through any detox because she's really healthy, but that's what she noticed the most was just energy. And I know that in gymnastics, it takes a long time to develop new skills. And she started very late. She didn't start till she was like 11. And, most people start when they're 4 or 5. So she was whipping skills and was doing skills like in a couple of weeks that other people and other girls in her class were taking them a year to get these skills mastered. And they were kind of getting frustrated with her. Like, well, why are you getting all these skills? And then, of course, she would say, it's the water. And then, of course, they would look at her, are you crazy? But now she brings like, 4 or 5 people water to the gym all the time. And these girls want the water so much, but their moms think it's all, loony. They're like, it's just water, So we're raising up the next generation. And that's what I keep telling them. You just keep planting seeds, because you're right. People that are adults, they're real stuck in their ways. And it's going to be hard to break through those chains, that bondage, that belief system, that indoctrination. But if we can change the next upcoming future, what do you think our planet will look like? Only 2% of the 75% of the Earth's water is usable without chemical treatment. That's astonishing to me. I don't know if you've looked into that, but wow, that's extraordinary. That's like the upper altitude mountains. And why is that? The Hunza people in the Himalayas, or even up in Colorado, the glacier waters. Everybody talks about those, thermal waters. You go sit in them into the hot springs. It's amazing. You come out feeling great. Well, why is that? It's electrolyzed. You know, the lightning storms, they hit up there, they hit the water. The water's alive and it's pure. You know, it's not as contaminated with all the things that are being dumped at sea level and all of the pollution and the environment in the air that's polluting the waters that we are drinking. You know, something that really makes me laugh about, you know, the skepticism of people is, why are they so skeptic of the water and drinking it like something's wrong with it or it's going to hurt me? But yet they'll drink that same tap water that comes out, that goes through our device, but it's filtered first, you know, and then it's electrolyzed. But they're skeptic of drinking that water, but they'll drink that same tap water that is filled with those contaminants and aren't filtered. And it's obvious if you look at the water source that it comes from, and you look around the area that you live, and you see that water source, and the water's green, it's murky, it's brown, it's gross, you know, it's got feces in it and contaminants. And obviously, if it's clear coming out of your faucet, it's treated with something. Well, that's chemicals. And I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that, right? That should be common sense, I would say.
Yeah. Well, isn't that interesting? Because, you know, people will eat practically anything out there, and they'll drink practically anything out there. But all of a sudden, when it comes to Kong water, they got to do their research.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right?
You know.
On the back containers where you don't even, I mean, you can't even understand what they are. You can't read some of them unless you know Latin or something. You can't read any of them, right? And they'll drink that, no big deal. What is that? That's in there. Well, I don't know. You know, well, what about that yellow number 5, that red number 40? Where's that made? In the lab. Do you know what it's made out of? Well, no. You know it's illegal in other countries? Oh, is it? But then they'll still eat it and drink it, you know, with no reservation, no research, like you're saying. Then all of a sudden, well, here, what about this kind of, oh, well, can you send me some research? Just drink the water. I mean, we all got to drink water, right? We all got to drink it. Just drink the water, and you'll see. So, you know, you got to tread lightly, though. You don't want to sound like a know-it-all. You don't want to, you know, be forceful. And so you got to be really careful with that. You got to be around these people all the time. And so I'm just taking it slow. And I know we go to a community for homeschool. Love those ladies, only word. Like-minded people, brilliant individuals, will help your family at the drop of a dime, no matter what it does to them. You know, just like our Magic family, it's extraordinary. Love them. We do classical conversations is the model we use. And, you know, I just bring water, and it says Magic, change your water, change your life, you know, and every once in a while they say, well, what's in that bottle of water, you know, in that bottle? It's like, it's just water, you know, it's electrolyzed and goes through my medical grade device. Oh, medical grade device. And you just tell them little tidbits. You know, I bring my apples, and they're pure white, cut them open at 6 o'clock the next, you know, Monday night, bring them Tuesday, eat them for lunch. They're like, how is your apples so white? I said, no, they don't oxidize. Well, what do you do? Well, I soak them in 11.5. Well, what's that? Well, it comes out of my medical grade device. You tell them little truth nuggets, if you will. And they see their apples and they're brown. Well, why is mine brown? Well, you know, that's oxidation. And that's what happens to your tissues in your body. So if you want to look at the apple like a tissue, drink the common water, 9.5, you know, and you get up to that level, you know, your tissue isn't going to oxidize. And those antioxidants are just going to help your cells and help the structure of your body and just do what it needs to do. And then they're just kind of like, oh, you know, then we got to focus on the material at hand. You got to focus on the class. So you just kind of get those nuggets and it'll come.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Yeah.
Nice. Just be loving. Because, you know, you can't look at them like, well, why don't you know this? Because we were all there. We didn't know it. Before we drank it, we tried to do other things. I know Tristan drank RO water. Well, let's not even talk about distilled water. I mean, water has a memory. So the water is, yeah, sure, it's clean. There's no contaminants in it, but it's void of any nutrients. And the water is going to find the nutrients in your body, whether that's from your teeth, whether that's from your blood or your bones. It's going to pull out those minerals that it needs and leach them so that it can do its job in your body. And that's the most terrible water probably you can drink. But a lot of people do that because they think they're being healthy because it's cleaning it. And isn't that better than going and buying bottled water? I mean, you're saving the environment. You're not using plastic. You know, you're saving money and what they think. And so you just gotta be sensitive to their needs. And you know I did a demonstration for my daughter's tutor, and she's amazing. She's so intelligent, and she's always trying to better herself. You know, getting rid of dishes that have bad ink on them. You know, she's all about air. You know, I always joke, I'm like, I'm water, she's air, right? And she's probably our zodiac sign. I mean, that is mine, water, mine's Cancer. I don't know what hers is, but I wonder if it's an air sign. But anyway, nevertheless, she purifies her house. She's got like air purifiers in like every room. It's extraordinary. And her house smells great. Like you walk in and she uses oils and the air just smells clean and feels clean when you breathe it in. And you know, she has reverse osmosis. So we did a demonstration, and you know, I did the straw blowing in your acidic waste because, you know, when it tested its pH, which we know the Kangen water is not all about just pH, right? That's not even the biggest thing. It's about the hydrogen. It's about the electrolyzation of it. So, you know, we tested it. The pH was the same. You know, Kangen was purple. Her RO was purple. So she's like, oh, and she kind of was like, yay, I'm doing a good job. I said, well, I kind of hate doing this. I just don't want to like debunk you, but I do. So I'm going to blow my acidic waste into this cup now, and it's going to change. Just watch. And I blew it in there, and instantly it turned acidic. And, you know, I blew in the Kangen for a long time, and it didn't change. And she said, and she kind of, I mean, she looked like somebody just stole their dog. She was like, oh, I'm sorry to tell you, but she's like, so it's acidic. It's just acidic. I said, yeah, unfortunately it is. And she said, well, why does that one not change? And I said, you know what? We do classical conversation. We teach our kids grammar every week. It's basically a noun versus a verb, okay? A noun is a thing. So that's the chemical additives that you see on the back of the smart waters and the waters that claim to have a high pH, sodium bicarbonate, fancy word for baking soda, you know, all these things they add into it. So that's what a noun is. It's a thing. Well, then you have a verb over here, and that's an action being done onto something. So it goes through the electrolysis process, goes over those electrodes or those plates, and it creates a restructure. So it's an action being done onto it. You cannot change something that's an action being done onto it. You know, that's a change that's going to stay there. It's restructured. And she was just fascinated. I mean, fascinated. I mean, she was upset because she just had paid all this money for her RO system, a dechlorinator. You know, there wasn't chlorine in her water. I tested that. That was good. Whole house chlorinator. And just had remodeled her house. So she was like, oh, I want this. You know, I gave her samples of the water. She loved it. And she still wants some. We give her samples here and there. And she drinks it. And she just says to me, she'll text me, I desperately want more of that water. She's like, you gave me a bag. I drank the whole gallon in a day. I said, yeah. It's like you just want it. I said, can you tell me, you know, what is it about it that makes you want it? Or what is it that it makes you feel like? She's like, I don't even know. I just want it. I just know my body wants it. I was like, yep. I think that she probably was feeling that remineralization naturally, getting those naturally occurring minerals from the ground that are left in the Kangen water and are electrolyzed and into her body, and was probably just feeling so alive. Yeah. So it's just a matter of time, like you said. And I'm totally okay with that. I told her, I said, I know you just remodeled your house. I just want to keep reiterating the fact that you can get the device with payments and other avenues. And she's a person who doesn't like to have outstanding debt. She likes to pay things off in full. I get that. That's admirable. So I'm like, hey, you let me know. I'm always here. I'm going to bring you water on Tuesdays when we meet. I'll bring you water. I'll bring you water every week, you know. And so you just got to letting them know that you're there and that you're there with them and you want to walk with them no matter how long it takes, because you understand their need to research. You understand their skepticism or their realism, like I call it. And yeah, you just got to be there.
Remember when she does get her machine, you want to bypass that RO water. You don't want to be putting that RO water through the Kangen water machine because it won't work. Your water won't work. You won't get the electrolyzed water because it has to have the minerals in it in order to get that. And the only reason her water turned purple, that RO water, is because she's adding those minerals back in. It strips them and then you add them back in. And yeah, that's why it turned yellow right off the bat. Every other time I've ever tested RO water, it turns piss yellow right out of the chute.
Yeah.
And it's one of the worst waters that you can possibly put into your body, and it's a big scam. And I always say, yeah, and they call Kangen water a scam. That's funny.
All the time they push reverse osmosis water.
Yes.
You do a little research on that, a little history on that. They had to do that for several reasons, you know, back in the 40s and 50s in the Depression era, to try to get some really bad hexavalents and different things out of the water and, you know, Aaron Brockfish. So if you look into that, that's what they were trying to do. They just never evolved from it. They kept pushing that because, you know, it was a moneymaker.
I mean, it's fine for the RO water to be in the rest of the house. You just don't want it going through the Kangen water machine. You gotta bypass. I just sold a Kangen water machine to somebody who had an RO system, and we just bypassed it. We just
So you let
the tube and plugged it the other direction, and it was simple and easy, and they're all good to go. And you know, so I've got another question. We're going to go ahead and move on because we've been going here for a while, and that's great. I love it. I'm ready to go as long as you are, because I just absolutely love this, and it's my passion in this world, and I don't ever have any problem with however long we go because I just love it. But I want to move on to what is really my favorite question. And this is kind of a surprise question to some people, and everybody always has a different answer to it. Tristan's answer was really, really interesting when I gave her this question, and everybody's is. But you have somebody that's interested, possibly interested, that you run into, and they're you know, whatever. You got one opportunity. You got one single thing that you can say to this person to get them on the train, to get them to grab that flight suit, jump in it, and jump off the cliff. What is it? What do you say to them?
That's a great question. And I guess, in my opinion, I would more just be upfront and say, what is your biggest priority in life? Because if you ask somebody that and their priority is success through, you know, through power and through, you know, financial gain, you know, that might not be for them, although you could go down how wonderful the program is and how the compensation package is just elite, and it's top notch, and it's better than anything you ever seen in America. It's definitely not multi-level marketing, and you could really go down that with them. But it needs to be, in my opinion, health. It needs to be wellness. It needs to be their family's life. You know, that needs to be, or their health and their wellness needs to be the most important thing, because if it's not, you're probably not going to get anywhere with them, and there's someone else that's waiting that has a priority to get rid of, you know, wasteful things, to get rid of things that are harming their bodies and their children's bodies and their environment. They're going to be the ones that you really want to talk to, and that are going to jump on board, help others down the line, and that's what it's all about. It's about networking. So I think that's what I would ask them.
Yeah, you know, that's the God's honest truth right there. I always tell people, if you don't have your health, you really have nothing. And there's a lot of people. This world is full of people who have all kinds of money, and they spend every dime of it trying to get their health back once they've lost it. And so it's one of those things that, you know, clear back in 1993, I read a book that changed the course of my life. It's called World Without Cancer. And I read that book, and it changed everything about my life. It changed how I look at doctors, changed how I look at the government, changed how I look at myself. It changed how I look at my health. And from that point on in my life, I started looking at things from a proactive standpoint. That's what that book did for me. And interestingly enough, that book has its origins in the exact same place as Kangen water, which is the great land of Hunza in Pakistan. They both have their roots in the exact same spot. And for me, that was when I found out that Kangen water, its origin come from Russian scientists and Japanese scientists who conglomerated onto Hunza, and they were studying their water. And you see this water running down through the Hunza streams, and it looks exactly like the water that comes out of my Kangen water machine. I was like, this is it, you know, and so I really developed a tremendous passion with that. And at the end of that book, he says something that has always hit me super hard. He says, you now have the ability to live in a world without cancer. And the only reason you have this ability is because someone out there somewhere was gracious enough to bring this information to your attention.
Absolutely.
Can you do any less for others? Can you do any less for others? And that just smacked me like a brick upside the head. And I went, no, I can't do any less for others. I have to tell people. And that's the same thing that happened with the Nagic. I have to tell people. I'll go up and eat people's apple cores. I'll have a total stranger. I got to tell you this. You'll get a kick out of this. I'm at a taco joint. I had just ordered my tacos, and I'm sitting there, standing there waiting for my tacos to get done. And I see this lady come walking in the door, and she's eating an apple. And as soon as I see anybody eating an apple, I sit there and watch them eat that apple because I know what they're going to do. They're going to chomp all the way around the apple, and they're going to throw the core away. Yep. And so I wait until she gets down to the core, and I see that she's looking for where's garbage. And I walk over to her, and I says, excuse me, ma'am, but are you going to throw that apple away? And she goes, she looks at the apple, and she looks at me like I'm nuts, and she looks back at the apple, and she looks at me like I'm nuts again, and she goes, yeah. I go, can I have it? And she goes, looks at the apple again, and she looks at me like and she goes, yeah, here. And she hands it to me, and I grab it, and I go, oh.
I love it.
And I chomp her apple down, and she's like, ah, you know.
Freak out.
But you know what happened is I got the opportunity to tell her about the world without cancer.
Yeah.
And whether she actually took that and did anything with it, I don't know. I don't even care. Because exactly like a Nagic, my job is to tell them the story. My job is to introduce them to it. And like Dan says, I give them my card and I say, hey, you're going to be hearing about this. And I hope that you'll remember who told you about this first. Because this is something that you are going to learn about, you are going to know about. And the time's going to come when everybody's going to have these. And I just hope that you'll remember who told you about it first.
Yes.
That's it.
Everybody has a microwave, right? And the microwave doesn't even do good things to food. It zaps all the nutrients. But it's a staple in a home. You know, and eventually everybody's going to have this because it's not going to be any usable water anymore.
Yes, you know? Exactly. And so, you know, I love that. And I love this company, and I love people like you that are willing to come on here and share your incredible stories and your journeys, and because these are the kinds of things that actually are going to affect people, because somebody might be out there and they might think this is a bunch of nonsense, but they might be suffering from fibromyalgia, and they might be looking for that. They might be praying for that. You know, the gal that got me in, that told the story that got me involved with this, she was literally praying every morning and every night that she would die.
Yeah, I did that too.
Hoping to die every day. She was trying to liquidate everything she had so that her children and her husband would be able to handle her death a little easier. She owned a dance studio. She was trying to sell it because she couldn't dance anymore. She couldn't play the piano at church anymore. She couldn't hardly move anymore. She was taking 19 different medications, and you know, fast forward 9 months and she's off all the medication. She's dancing again. She's playing the piano again and everything else. Her life has completely changed. And that's what worked out for me. That's what made me reach out to my friend and say, bring me some information about that Kong's water. I started calling it Kong's water before I even knew anything about it. But, you know, I always say, how do you think that gorilla got so big? He's out there in the jungle drinking Kong's water from the face of the waterfall, right? But the reason, one of the big things that, as well as telling stories, another thing that is a big goal of mine with this place and why I'm doing this is because I'm trying to unite people. I'm trying to get people to resonate with each other. And I don't know who's going to resonate with who. This thing's being recorded. It's going to go on to the Kong Family Show YouTube channel. And it's going to be available for the world to see forevermore. And, you know, so I never know, and you never know who is going to see this down the road. And you know what? It might be some friend of mine that I've been working on for years, trying to get them to get involved with this water. And they you know, Jay's a crazy rascal. I don't want anything to do with him. But that Lisa girl, she is awesome. I want to work with her. And the truth of the matter is, if one of my friends doesn't want to buy a machine from me, but they want to buy it from you, I want them to go get that machine from you. I don't care who they get it from. My brother, my own brother, who's been telling me what a scam this is for the last 2 years, I talked him into buying a machine and doing the 21-day challenge, and where he can, you know, he can buy the machine, and he gets 21 days to use it. And if he doesn't want to use it after 21 days, he sends it back. I'll pay his restocking fee. I tell my people, I'll pay your restocking fee, but you have to use the machine and you have to drink the water and no energy drinks, no Coke, none of that kind of crap. You got to really use it and give it the 21-day challenge. And at the end of 21 days, if you really want to send it back, I'll pay your stocking fees and it won't cost you a dime. Well, an opportunity came up to buy a machine at half price, and a 2-year-old machine from a good person where he could do it, and a magic distributor who had like 4 machines and needed to liquidate one because he needed some money for something or another. And I told my brother, hey, here's an opportunity for you. Because my brother doesn't want anything to do with the business. And I told him, here's an opportunity to get a K8, $2,400 plus the shipping. And it isn't going to, you don't get the 21-day challenge. You don't get the business, but you got a great machine. And, if you want to get it, get it. And he did. And I put out a post and said, congratulations, bro. When you get it, let me know. I'll come down. I'll help you install it. He lives about 30 miles away from me. I'm going to go spend my own money, my own time to go hook my brother's machine up. I'm going to show him how to use it, how to do it, everything. Because the simple fact of the matter is, for me, the money is secondary. I need money just like everybody else does. But my goal is to change the world. And I don't care about the money side of things because I understand the laws of attraction and the laws of positivity and all that kind of stuff. And I know for a fact that what I'm doing is going to come back to me tenfold and beyond. And so I'm not concerned about that at all. I want to unite people. If someone wants to get together with you, if they're watching this today or tomorrow or a week from now or a month from now or a year from now or 10 years from now, and they want to hook up with you, there's only one way they can do that, and that's if you tell them how. And so at this point, what I'd love you to do, and this is completely up to you, whatever information you want to give out, is how do people get a hold of you? They're watching this and they're like, wow, this gal is amazing. She homeschools 4 kids. She's just incredible. I want to hook up with her. I want to work under her. I want to work with her. I want to get a Kangen water machine from Lisa. How did they get in touch with you, my dear?
Well, it's interesting that you asked me that because when you first wanted me to be on the show, I was like, no, I can't be on there yet, Tristan. I don't have my website set up, but that's a work in progress and we'll make it happen. I would plan on really working on that when school is done. At the end here, Nevaeh has Blue Book exams and Peyton has a Faces of History project, my son. So we got a lot of things going on. So it just kind of has been tabled for a little bit, although it's there. And like I said, I put them first, so we'll get it done. But I will have a website called cleangreenlove.com. I already have the name, have the domain name, it's just not rolling yet. It'll be www.cleangreenlove.com. But for now, in the meantime, just Facebook page, social media. That's what I have going on right now. I keep in contact with all my Army buddies. That's how they keep in contact with me and me, them. And without the social media, I wouldn't even get to talk to them all the time. And that's been a blessing. So I have Instagram, and that's just Lisa Glanzer, and I have Facebook.
Can you slowly spell and tell Lisa's pretty easy, but how do they spell your last name?
Glanzer. It's Glanzer.
Glanzer. Lisa Glanzer, kids. Get a hold of Lisa Glanzer. You're going to want to know this sweet lady. And, so they can get a hold of you through Facebook. Same thing with Instagram?
Mm-hmm. Same thing.
Okay.
Like I said, both of those. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not technologically savvy. So my son is, and he is going to help me with all of those things this summer. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And he'll do the video recording and different things. And I'm excited to roll that out because it'll have not just the content, but it'll have different things on there. Different recipes. I love to cook. I love to garden, and just a lot of health things that you can change in your life and for your family that has positive effects. So it's going to be just a big feed every day that I put things up there, kind of like a show. You want to put a lot of information out there. So I'm trying to come up with something like that to help change the world. I have big goals. Another one of my goals is to sell our home and to get an RV, is to travel around the United States, giving people free water, setting up free water shares. My daughter, she likes to travel. She wants to see things. I think that teaching your kids and homeschooling them and being able to actually show them these places in history just has a lot more merit, just helps you remember the content a lot more, especially if you're a multifaceted learner, multisensory. So yeah, I have big goals and dreams and visions, and I know they'll come into fruition at the right time. I'm just, taking one day at a time and just leaning on promises. And I think if you have dreams and you do small steps to get there, it'll happen.
Yeah. Amen. And, so just a message to everybody out there that's listening to this that is going to friend up and send a friend's request to Lisa Glanzer. Okay. Do her a favor, please. If you send her a friend request, let her know why. Don't just send her a friend request, because we get a lot of friend requests from people, and some of them I'm half scared to death to accept their friend request, and I don't. I have to ask them why they sent me a friend request and that kind of thing. And so save Lisa the time, save yourself the time. Let her know that you saw her on the Kong family page, or that you're a friend of JJ's, and you heard what she had to say and you really wanted to friend up with her. Let her know why you're sending her a friend request. Please do that common courtesy and let her know, so that she doesn't get a whole bunch of friend requests and not sure what the heck and who the heck and any of that kind of stuff. So it's really a matter of common courtesy, kids. And so please do that. I was wondering one thing about, because you haven't really touched on this, and I'm curious. Your husband, is he on board with this? Has he been drinking the water? Has he benefited from it?
No, he's benefited greatly. We're separated right now. He's not here at the house, sadly. So the kids and I have been going through a lot of emotion. But like I said, again, the water has kept me so level and so focused on the matter at hand and taking each day one day at a time. And we've wrapped ourselves in prayer and in health and are just hoping for the best. But he actually, that's interesting that you asked me that, because he had kidney failure in the Army. That's why he came home. He was medically released from the Army because he was not able to pass the PT test because of his kidneys failing, and he couldn't substantiate the running and the exercise. He would sweat profusely. So he had an injury to a pectoral muscle while he was in Georgia in training. He was doing SATCOM training, a type of military intelligence, and he had a long training. That's why he was gone for 10 months. And so during that time, he had sustained an injury. He had went into the doctor. Of course, now, I told you previously that he has MTHFR, much like me, and our other daughter is homozygous, meaning she has both mutations. So he could not methylate a lot of those heavy metals. And as you know, or maybe you don't know, when you join the Army, you get a slew of vaccinations and tons of things pumped into you. So he might have had a lot of trouble detoxing those, and just some of the foods that they're given weren't as holistic as I was cooking. A lot of carbs. We were eliminating a lot of the gluten already when I cooked for him. Growing up, he did not eat that way. And so he was having some better health just in our short time of being married. It'll be 6 years here in May. So just eating the different foods that I had introduced to him. Some of them he had never even heard of. Like he thought, it's kind of funny, he thought junior asparagus from VeggieTales was a made up vegetable. I was like, you don't know what asparagus is? Are you kidding me? We picked that fresh off of our farm growing up. So, I would make asparagus with lemon zest and, trying to detox him. And then he left for the Army and he got really sick. He was sick a lot. He had colds a lot. He had coughs a lot. He had headaches a lot. And then he got the pectoral injury and they gave him some Motrin, or no, it was your NSAIDs. It was an NSAID. I think it was Motrin, maybe not ibuprofen. Sorry, it was ibuprofen. And they gave him ibuprofen 800 to take, and he was dehydrated. You can't take ibuprofen 800 milligrams if you're dehydrated. And so he would go back in and he would say, I don't feel good. And it wasn't even the pectoral muscle anymore. It was that he just didn't feel good in his body. He felt dehydrated. And he was throwing up foam in the bathroom during training. And so the TMC, they really didn't help him. I think they misdiagnosed him, to be honest with you, but you can't fight the military and stuff like that. There's a clause that you sign when you join that you can't sue them, you can't, get them for malpractice and so on and so forth. So he went in and the lady was like, I'm so sick of these soldiers coming in here all the time complaining about stuff. But he was like really sick. He was like, I can't even hardly walk or get up. I'm throwing up and I'm getting dizzy and my heart's having palpitations. So they gave him more drugs. and he actually passed out, and he did not come back into class. And so some sergeants went looking for him, and he was on the bathroom. He was in the bathroom on the floor, passed out in a pile of puke. And so they took him into the hospital, and I get a phone call. Our child's very young. She was a newborn, and I had just found out that she had GERD, which we then found out the acid reflux was just from her bowels being pushed up and causing her acid to be pushed up even further. And, you know, so again, the water fixed that for her. And the chiropractor was working on things to try to fix her and alleviate that and taking some glutamine and things like that already. So I just found out that. Comes in threes, right? Just found out that. I get a call that he is in the hospital. He had been on dialysis for 15 hours. The nephrologist is, you know, telling me all these things that he's doing and what my husband's going through, and that he can't talk. He's hooked up to all these things. And I'm just like in shock. You know, I'm just dealing with Paisley's issues. I had just taken her in to the doctor because the night previously, God just woke me up out of a dead sleep. I wasn't even sleeping that much. And I jumped up out of bed, and he said, go in the room, go into her crib. I said, okay. I run in there. Her lips are blue. She has got puke in her mouth. I instantly pull her out of the crib. I put her over my arm. I'm patting her back. Puke's coming out. I'm freaking out. I mean, I'm overwhelmed that God woke me up. I'm thankful. I'm on my knees. I'm praying over her. The next night, I find out Lee is on dialysis. And then the next night, I get a call, and my elder children, their biological father, is in the hospital. He has heart failure and has 20% of his heart operating, and most likely is not going to make it.
Wow. For some reason, Lisa, I'm not sure what happened, but we lost your picture.
Oh, okay. Is it still there or no?
I can still hear you, but I can't see you anymore.
I got it here.
Is it better now?
There we go. Here we are again.
Okay. Can you see me now?
So wow. So your ex-husband is, what was that you were saying again?
1, 2, 3. It was Paisley's GERD and throwing up and fear to go to sleep. Is she going to breathe? And then it was the phone call from the nephrologist that he was in kidney failure and dialysis. And then the next night, it was a call that my biological kid's father had heart failure. And it was just, and I'm not even sleeping. It was fairly insane. Like I said to you before, if I didn't have the faith that I do, my dad's a pastor, and I grew up extraordinary amount of faith. And if I didn't have that, and I don't know what people do that don't have it, I don't know where I'd be today. Because to find out those 3 things in a row when you're not sleeping is a tad bit crazy, to say the least. I mean, I was in shock. I don't know what to do.
So this was before you had the water or after you got the water?
Before I had the water. And that was when I was dealing with fibromyalgia pain. I had the vertebrae issues. It was just, and people wanted me to go. And I know they had the best intentions. They were like, we'll fly you there so you can be with your husband. I'm looking at them and I'm like, do you have any idea how mentally off I am right now? I'm not sleeping. I have pain that's extraordinary. I can't fly with my newborn child on a plane to Georgia and leave my other kids that are dealing with their father possibly dying. I can't do that. Thank you for your offer. But you know what I need to do? I need to hit my knees. I need to be the mother hen and take my kids under my wing and sit and just take day by day and just pray and think there's got to be a light to the end of this tunnel. I'm telling you all this. It just helps you to see, everybody that's watching, to see. This is why I'm so indebted to Tristan for bringing this into my life, because I was in a dark place. I'm just gonna, I'm open enough. I'll just tell you, I was suicidal. I went to the VA many times and would sit there and cry and say, what am I gonna do? I thought I was crazy. I thought that my PTSD was back. I thought I had gotten over it. You never get over it, but I thought I had managed it. I thought I had, I went through counseling for several years. I thought I was doing okay. I was like, what's going on? I never thought in a million years I'd be suicidal. I was a very positive person. What's going on with me? And she assured me, the counselor there said, hon, you're going through a lot. There's a lot of things in your life right now. It's 1, 2, 3. It's hitting you. You're not sleeping. You're going to be okay. And she would just listen to me. And, she didn't offer me drugs. And that was what was so great. Because when I would go to allopathic health, it was, you just need benzos. You just need SSRIs. I'm like, no, I don't think that's what I need. I need you to, I need somebody to care. And so I just went to my church, and I just, I relied on my friends and my cousin, Tristan. I mean, she would listen to me, and that's why she introduced me to this. And I didn't think I could have a life like this. I didn't think I could be pain-free. I didn't think I would come out of that depression. No, I mean, I didn't. So people watching that, I know that it's dark. I know that the valleys seem so alone, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a mountaintop. And when you get to that mountaintop, the slide down, it's not so bad. You're not gonna, you're not gonna tell people, oh, you're gonna drink the water, you're not gonna have problems. You're gonna have problems. You're gonna have problems in your life. You're gonna have pain, you're gonna have certain things that come up, but you can give your body the right tools. And when you have that water too, you have mental clarity. So you're gonna know what to seek out. You're gonna know that it's okay to reach out and talk to a friend and tell them what you're going through. And it's also okay that when you're in those valleys, to just be in the valley. Let yourself be in the valley. I'm not saying that you should unpack your bags there and suffer for the rest of your life, but allow that time to be a time of learning, to be a time of direction, to look with both eyes wide open at what is in front of you. What could possibly be here for me? Because if you keep your eyes wide open, you're going to notice the people that come in your life with these giftings, with these tools, ready to help you. You talked before about there's no advantage for me. Tristan, she told me right off the bat, she's like, if you do the finance program, I'm not going to get anything off of it until you pay it in full 2 years later. But she didn't care, because that's not what it's about. She wanted to be there for me because she truly saw in me. She was empathetic. She saw that I was suffering. I was struggling to survive day to day. And she just wanted to be a small part, and having a hand that reaches out and says, here, give me your hand. Let me pull you out of that a little bit. Let me be there for you. And that's what it's about. So to be a distributor, I don't really think it's a distributor. I think it's like a liberator, right? You just want to be there for people like, hey, what are you going through in your life? How can I help you? Maybe it's just to listen. Maybe you don't get a device for 2 years. Who cares? Let me just listen to what you're going through. Because sometimes when you're in those valleys, you don't even see what's in front of you that could potentially help you. Because all you see is your problems. Your problems are right there. Every day you wake up, they're right there. They're right in your face. And the devil, it puts it in your head. Oh, your husband might be dying. Your biological dad is dying. You're in pain. You're crazy. People would tell me that. I mean, his own family thinks I'm crazy. I know they do. And I mean, I'm crunchy, and that everything I do is just nuts. And during the time that I was going through all this, they thought I was pessimistic. And I wasn't. I was hurt. I was deeply hurt for what I was going through. And I'm not going to divulge all the things my husband and I went through, but there were some things there, some lying and some issues that were really, really weighing on my emotions, were really not giving me a lot of hope in us. And to deal with all of those things going on at the same time, you need a tool that's going to pull you out of that and give your body its ability to sort that out again, to compartmentalize that again, and be like, you know what? This is over here. This is over here. This is over here. I'm gonna be able to work on this today. Maybe not all of it, but this today. Maybe this tomorrow. And slowly you get out of that valley and you start climbing again. You start realizing your purpose in life. You start seeing your talents again and seeing what you have to offer the world. And all of a sudden you're purpose driven again. And you love yourself again. And you realize the strengths you have, and you start believing in yourself again, that you're a good mom, and that you were just going through a lot. And that during that time, they might have saw you struggle a lot, but they saw you lean on the Lord. They saw you searching for answers. They saw you trying to better yourself and try to find things that would help better them. And that'll teach them so much more than any textbook, so much more than what this world has to offer them and what society teaches them and tries to push in their brains. Just seeing you be okay with where you are, content with where you are, and ready for what next step is in your life.
Yes. Yeah, there's to most children, there's nothing more important in this world than their mother. My mom's been gone for 29 years, this July 16th, and I still miss her every day. And this is a big part of why I do what I do, because I don't want to see people. I know for a fact that my mother would still be here with me today, barring some catastrophic accident or something. She'd still be here. This water would have given her machine what it needed. Her machine never got what it needed, ever. All it got was a bunch of poison. She was on 22 different medications when she died. She developed a cyst on the backside of one of her kidneys. It poisoned her spinal fluid, turned her into a vegetable, and in 4 days she was gone. We got to unplug the machine and watch her die. And I'll never forget it. And, you know, it is my driving force in this world and why I do what I do and why I'm so incredibly blessed to be involved with this family right here. This is the most incredible thing. I've been an entrepreneur since I think I punched my last time clock when I was like 18 or 19 years old.
Wow.
And I've literally, I'm 53 years young now, and I've found my passion in this world. And, you know, here in the Enagic company, our motto is not change your water, change your job.
Right.
It's change your water, change your life, because that's what it does. It changes your life, and it changes your life for the better. And that's how we're going to accomplish the goal that we have, which is to change the world. And, you know, it's so neat to be able to, you know, I'm so blessed. Tomorrow I've got Ivan Peralta coming on the show again. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, we've got an opening. On Friday, I've got Coach Menard coming back on again. And, you know, so it's just so exciting to be able to, every day I'm looking for stories. And so if you have anybody that has stories to tell that you run into, if you could, you know, please encourage them to come on. Please encourage them to get a hold of this crazy little rascal, JJ Surprise, and tell him you want to come share your story on the Conk Family Show, so I can get them up here, so I can get them recorded, so that we can share their story, share how to get a hold of them, so that people can resonate. And like I say, you just never know where this is going to go and how it's going to benefit. And, you know, like we always say, if we can just change one person's life, that's good. That's
good.
That makes it all worth it, right? And
Absolutely.
so we never know where it's going to go, but we're going to go take it somewhere. And, you know, so I look forward to getting a chance to meet you, and I look forward to seeing you back on here again down the road when you know, if you ever have something really cool that happens that you'd like to share, please let me know. I'd love to have you back on again. If anything, you know, we're all about sharing stories, because there's an old saying in the networking business. It's that facts tell and stories sell. And, you know, we do sell a water machine, but it's not the most important thing. We're trying to change lives, and we know how much it does that. Every single person that's been on this show in the 3 or 4 months that we've been doing it now, every single one of them has had the exact same thing in their mind, in that they just want to change the world. They just want to help us change the world, and that's what it's all about. And you know what? It's a lot of fun too. We can have some fun doing what we're doing. And
you look like you have a lot of fun, because your personality is quite infectious.
well, thank you. I try to be that way. You know, that's just the way I've always been. I figure if you're not having fun, you're doing the wrong thing. You need to go find something else.
That's right.
So that's why I love to do this. And this is really like the ultimate vehicle for a person like me, just because I do love people. I do care about people. My mother instilled me with a ridiculous heart that I don't need to get kicked upside the head to know that it hurts to get kicked upside the head. I have this, I don't know whether it's a gift or whether it's a curse.
It's a gift.
But I feel tremendously for people. And, you know, that's why I cried at the end of Rocky V. I was bawling like a baby at the end of Rocky V. And it's like, you know, this is a Hollywood movie. And here is Jay over here bawling his eyes out, you know.
To find aesthetic people is so rare sometimes, because it needs to be nurtured and developed, you know. And so, yeah, I would say that she's a wonderful woman, because she taught you to be able to listen to somebody's story and to resonate with them, and to be able to almost share in their pain. And that's a gift. Sometimes it feels like a curse, because I do that too. And sometimes you carry that burden and that weight of somebody else's story. But I think that that's everything to a person, to be able to look at somebody in their eyes and see that they truly care. that's everything. That sometimes is what carries them through it.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what I love about this too, because I try to keep these shows. My goal is to have them be from the heart. I want people to be speaking from their heart versus some script that they put together or whatever, you know. I mean, to take some notes of what you want to try to get out and that kind of thing is one thing, but to like let it flow from the heart, however it comes. And for me, every day it's coming from the heart, what I say, what I do, the way I interact with people when it comes to this product, and really in my life in general. Just everything I do comes from the heart, which I tell the truth, and it gets me in trouble a lot. And, you know, but hey, you know, let the chips fall where they may. If you tell the truth, you don't ever have to remember anything. And, you know.
not everybody's going to pick you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so that's where I love to come from. And I'm so blessed to have had you come on the show today. I know Dan and Tristan were really, really excited about being able to get in here and visit with you today. And, you know, so I definitely would love to have you back on again sometime in the future, whenever you would like to. And, you know, it's just been a great blessing getting to meet you, honey. Thank you so much. And, you know, like I told you before, just the simple fact that you homeschool your children makes you one of my heroes. I mean, people who homeschool are my heroes.
Hear that, it blesses me today, because that's not very popular, and some people look at you like you're nuts, like they're just not learning anything. So to hear that is such a great vote of confidence, and it keeps you going, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because there's various levels of ages and different content, and it's a whirlwind some days. But it's teaching me more than I think it teaches them, and to re-educate yourself along with them is such a gift.
Yeah.
Such things you learn and relearn some things. It's a gift.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it's going to continue to be. And so you keep doing what you're doing. And, you know, I always tell people, yep, I am crazy. That's what keeps me from going insane. You know? So, Lisa, thank you so much for spending your time. I know you're busy and you've got a lot of things on your plate. And I'm just so grateful that you came and spent this 2 hours with us, almost 2 hours that you've been here. And so thank you. Yeah, you know, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
I'm not going to watch that. It's 2 hours, but hey, that's okay.
Yeah, well,
who needs to watch it? So
hopefully it'll change somebody's life, and you know, they're going to be seeing recordings and they can stop it and come back later, and you know, whatever, however they do it is great. And as soon as this is uploaded to me, then I'm going to upload it to YouTube, and you'll be the first person that gets the link to it, and then it'll be getting shared out all over, and you feel free to share it wherever you like. And please encourage other people to come join me if you wouldn't mind. It's quite the thing trying to find guests 7 days a week. And but it's a great challenge, and I want to keep working on it because I just love to share the magic of Kangen water, because our goal is to change the world. And
that's awesome. I will do
as usual. As I always love to say to everybody, don't forget your hugs. Don't forget your hugs, kids. Give yourself a big hug and a big old HooDeeHooooo.
Love it.
And just so you know, HooDeeHooooo is a verbal hug.
Okay. I like verbals.
Verbal hugs. I'll say, hey, here, have a hug. And I'll say HooDeeHooooo. That's what that means. HooDeeHooooo. It's a verbal hug. And, you know, if I could reach through the screen, I'd give you a great big old hug, but the best I could do is this.
Yeah, you filmed me today. I really appreciate it. It was an honor.
Have yourself the rest of an awesome day, honey. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you more often and whatever. If there's ever anything that I can help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out, okay?
I will.
All right. Thank you so much. Have yourself an awesome day. Thanks to everybody who came in. We are the Kong family. We have a very simple goal. We're just going to change the world.
Change the world.
You guys all have a great one. HooDeeHooooo! Bye for now, honey.
Bye-bye.